Christine Sandberg became obsessed with hermit crabs in the summer of 2013. She spent that summer on the Jersey Shore and saw hundreds of hermit crabs huddled in wire cages. It had been many years since she'd even thought about hermit crabs. Then she remembered the lone hermit crab of her childhood that she purchased from similar conditions. Sadly, it didn't last long. But at that time, she didn't know what she was doing. Fast forward to 2013, and Christine wondered what actually makes for good care for these interesting critters. So she researched and stumbled upon the HCA. She read everything she could and participated in the forums for 4 years before finally adopting her own 6 purple pinchers in the summer of 2017. Since then, she's been sharing her hermit crab journey on Instagram as @Christine's Crab Care. Last year's CrabCon was the final encouragement she needed to open up her own Etsy shop, selling hermit crab food and fun novelty items. She's currently elbow deep in a tank renovation and hopes to be able to take in more rescue hermit crabs very soon. Please welcome Christine Sandberg.
Hello, CrabCon attendees. I am so excited to be a speaker at Last Minute Edition and talk to you about advocating for hermit crabs through the use of social media. My name is Christine. You may know me on Instagram as Christine's Crab Care. Also, I'm on the HCA as C Fiesta. If you've hung out online with me, you've probably recognized my face, but if I haven't met you yet, I would love to. Feel free to say hi in the comments. I will be there. I would not miss CrabCon for the world. I put it on my calendar and yeah, anyway, I'm there in the comments. I can promise you that, even though this is pre-recorded. So why should we advocate for hermit crabs on social media? I think there's a natural tendency or pull to advocate for these cute little critters once we've learned about kind of the ordeal they have gone through and the struggles and the abuse that they've endured before coming into our homes. And once we've learned and known better, we want to teach others to do better as well. And so I think there's a natural tendency. However, sometimes this natural tendency comes off horribly. It's an explosion of all proportions, and it makes people turn away, become uninterested, don't want any hermit crabs. They give them up for adoption, or they just let them die, or they give them to someone who's equally unprepared for them. And so advocating correctly on social media can produce great results. I know I've talked with lots of people who have successfully had hermit crabs get through their first molt and get past that. And get past that kind of danger zone of the first 30 to 60 days that they're with them. And that's a huge accomplishment. And often it's because someone, not always me, but sometimes people like me and you have reached out to them and talked with them and gave them that bit of encouragement, pointed them in the right direction to where to find solid, reliable information that made a world of difference. Just having someone to say, you're not alone, I experienced that as well, goes a long way into having someone become a hermit crab enthusiast. Most people don't want to abuse these animals. They want to do the best that they can. Those are the people we can help through advocating for hermit crabs on social media. And these are my tips and tricks to do so. And there's 2 main messages I want you to get out of this talk, and that is, number one, anybody can be an advocate for hermit crabs online. You don't have to have a big following. You don't have to have a crab like themed Instagram page or YouTube or TikTok or Twitter or anything. Whatever you're using is fine. Anybody can be an advocate for hermit crabs online. So that's point number one. I will get to that more in detail. My second point is that honey attracts flies more than vinegar. All right, so those are my two takeaways I want you to get out of this conversation today. All right, number one, anybody can be a hermit crab advocate online. And I think you might be thinking, well, I don't have a crab-themed Instagram page, or I don't have a crab-themed Facebook group, or I don't know how to use TikTok, Christine. You're good. Anybody can be an advocate for hermit crabs. Yeah, even if you don't have a large following. You can do that by just showing everyone online your crabs and your crab setups. I think when people who are not familiar with the care of hermit crabs see an actual hermit crab setup, like the one here, and the one you have at home, when they see it for themselves and see a picture of it, they go, whoa, what's that? What kind of animal is that? That's cool. You can do that by showing a proper hermit crab setup, like the one I have here, or the one you have at home. It doesn't have to be the fanciest or the biggest or the coolest. That would be awesome if it is, but it doesn't have to be. Just showing a properly set up crab habitat goes a long way in educating people about proper hermit crab care. Because I've talked to a lot of people, and most people I talk to have had a hermit crab at one point in their life, or their kids have had a hermit crab, or their grandkids have had a hermit crab. And it's usually, the situation where it's, the $5 crab from the beach or the boardwalk, and they bring it home in the wire plastic container, and it dies in a week to 6 months. A lot of people have had that experience, especially here in the States. For some reason, this is a universal experience for Americans to buy cheap hermit crabs and then wonder why they died, and that's all over. I live in Minnesota. We don't have a beach near us, and yet people have had this experience. People have gotten hermit crabs and had them die. So to see the contrast between what they think they know owning a hermit crab is like versus what it actually is a huge eye-opener for a lot of people. And it gets them thinking questions like, oh, why is there so much sand? Why is there a big water dish? Why is there a lot of fake plants or real plants? So those questions are great because you can answer those questions, hopefully. Point number two is that honey attracts flies more than vinegar. This is an old saying, and it means be nice. Be nice to people. Treat others how you want to be treated. I see a lot of well-meaning people want to call out others' poor setups or poor treatment of their hermit crabs, or what we perceive in that one photo or that one 30-second video. We're like, oh no, they must be abusing the hermit crabs, and then go to keyboard wars on their comment section and say, you're killing your hermit crabs. Your hermit crabs are gonna die. You're a murderer. Okay, I don't know if I've seen that, but I've seen these types of comments from well-meaning people. I don't think that gets us anywhere as a community of hermit crab owners and as well-meaning people. When someone comes to bat against you in an argumentative way, you're automatically shutting down. You're not receptive to new ideas. So instead, you can come to someone with a compliment, a smile, an online smile, if you will, a compliment, a suggestion, a offer of friendship, an offer of new information, that's going to come off a lot nicer than, oh my gosh, you're a horrible person, your hermit crabs are going to die because you don't know what you're doing, exclamation mark, right? Also, along with this line, point number 3, remember that the people you're talking to online, these are regular folks. They are not hermit crab crazies like the rest of us. They are not spending their weekend attending a hermit crab conference. Even if they have hermit crabs, a lot of them won't. And that's fine, but they're regular people with regular busy lives and interests, and a lot of these times they're either parents of children or young children or young adults. And that's because hermit crabs are cheap pets to purchase at the pet store or on the boardwalk. So it attracts a lot of young people. I had a hermit crab when I was a kid. It didn't do so well. It died because I didn't know what I was doing. My point here is that these are regular people. You don't know how busy their lives are. You don't know what they're dealing with on a daily basis. You don't know if they're unemployed, lost a job, facing an illness or cancer, or having a hard time in their family. You don't know what they're going through. So I think it's just really important to keep that in mind, that when you're interacting with a faceless platform online, talking with other people, you don't know what kind of day they had. You don't know what's going on at home. So just be kind. Be nice. How do you be kind? How do you be nice? I'll give you my Christine Sandberg formula on being nice with people online. Number 1, we start with a compliment. I love your setup. Such a cute name you picked for your hermit crab. Aw, I'm so glad you got hermit crabs. We can think of something, people. Use your nice muscle. Stretch it. Start with a compliment, and then you can ask them a question or give them a piece of information in a nice way, such as, what kind of substrate are you using? Do you know why hermit crabs need salt water? Do you have a heat source for them? Ask a question in a nice way. Just one. Don't overwhelm them. Please, please don't write a novel when you're just getting to know someone. In the real world, I wouldn't walk up to you and say, oh, nice to meet you. Here's a book on everything I think you're doing wrong. And that's often how we come across online when we give them this information. Caveat here is if they ask for information, of course you have to answer with information, which rolls in nicely to point number 4. Know what you're talking about. Which I assume if you're here at CrabCon and you've watched all these videos, you have a decent idea of hermit crab care. And you know why we do things that we do. But can you explain it in a way that a regular person can understand? Do you understand it yourself? You don't have to be an expert. That's not what I'm saying. I also don't want you to claim to be a know-it-all. I don't know it all. I am learning. I am here at CrabCon learning from many experts and other enthusiasts, and I'm really excited. But can you articulate why we say to do things with hermit crabs a certain way? Let's take humidity. Why do we keep the tank humid? Can you articulate that? So when someone asks you a question, you can actually answer it. That's important. And it also is important to just be humble in what you don't know. I don't know everything. I tell people all the time, I don't know why your crab left its shell, but here's some options. It could be too hot. It could be sick. It could be dying. It could have gotten its shell taken away from it. These are just options. And I present options to people when they ask questions or if they're in a situation that they need help in. Leading into the next point is if you are a type of person who has trouble making compromises and seeing gray, if you see the world in black or white, right or wrong, then maybe what I'm talking about isn't for you. And I mean that in the nicest way. But there are many ways to keep a hermit crab alive. We've seen that with Carol Ormez, has kept Jonathan Livingston crab alive for a very long time. She did things differently with him than many keepers do now with our crabs. And there are crab owners who are more quiet, who have kept their hermit crabs alive for 10, 20 years, who don't follow exactly the same way as another hermit crab owner who has kept their crabs alive for 10 years. So there are slight deviations in hermit crab care. And what I tell people is to focus on the common ground when you're faced with opposition, when you're educating people about hermit crab care. Try to stick to the basics. Replicating that tropical environment with heat and humidity is a great way to start. Having a substrate that they can dig in to molt, also very important. Providing them fresh food, also very important. And just know the most important things and share the most important things. And accept that some people do things differently, and that's okay. All right, number 6, have fun with your advocating. Show pictures of your happy, healthy hermit crabs and your fun setup. This is going to go a long way in telling people, getting them interested, letting them see what is the proper way to take care of hermit crabs. I promise you that if you took a picture or a graphic and made it something like, hermit crabs are dying by the millions in painted shells, and you posted that online, and then you took a picture of your hermit crabs and you put that online, I will almost guarantee you that the picture is going to get more likes, comments, engagement than the graphic that is just yelling at people for negative information. So I tell people, I'm telling you to go towards positivity. The negative information sometimes has to be shared, of course, but if you're going to do any kind of advocating, have fun with it. Make it positive. That's what's going to get people excited about hermit crabs. That's what's going to get people excited about adopting captive bred babies or having their own hermit crab setup. It's not going to be hearing the woes of the hermit crab industry. I don't know of anyone who learned, oh, that's so awful, let me go get some. Usually we get them because they're cute or they might be fun and interesting, and then we learn, oh, that's not so good over there. I can do better. I'm going to research and do better. Point number 7, when you are faced with opposition, people who disagree with you, people who say, you're crazy, this is just a $5 pet, I don't care if it doesn't have the perfect setup, it's going to die anyway. Those kind of comments, they're disheartening. But when you are faced with opposition, either people who are disagreeing with you on the point of the care that you're talking about, or they're just not receptive to the information that you're providing them, just point to resources. They can go and learn more at those resources if they want to, but you shouldn't spend your precious hours having a keyboard war with someone who's not receptive. So, point to resources such as Lycos, Crab Street Journal, Hermit Crab Association, the Hermit Crab Patch, different solid sources of information, and leave it at that. Say, here's more information if you would like to know more, and if you have any questions, you can reach out to me. I'll tell you guys what this is. I talked earlier about my formula. This isn't part of my formula. I offer a compliment. I give a small tip or a small question to get them thinking, and then I point them to a resource. And then I say, when you have questions about that resource, feel free to come back and ask me those questions. You don't have to say that, you can, but how I've kind of positioned myself on Instagram is a place where people can ask questions. Yeah, I tell people, here's the resource. Feel free to come back and ask me questions as you run into them, so that I'm not spending my time rewriting a whole care guide that's already been written, that's already solid information on the internet. I don't have time to do that every night. I would not sleep if I did that every night. Point number 8. This is sad, but it has to be said. You cannot save them all. There are millions of hermit crabs. They cannot all be saved by you. They cannot all be saved by talking to owners on the internet about what their hermit crabs are doing or how they're treating their hermit crabs. There's going to be people who are not receptive to your information. There's going to be people who don't care. Just flat out don't care. It's a $5 pet, the same as a goldfish. They just throw it away. When it dies, get another one, maybe. There's also going to be hermit crabs that die with unknown reasons. Maybe that is post-purchase syndrome. Maybe that is another source of stress. Maybe they were ill when they were picked up on the beach before they were brought in. We'll never know exactly until we can develop a test and mail it out to everyone and they can test their hermit crabs. We don't know all the reasons why hermit crabs die. You also can't change people's minds who don't want to be changed. So here's my piece of advice for you. Focus on the people you can impact, not the people you can't. Spend your time and energy wisely. If it takes you 6 hours of going back to back with someone in a keyboard war and you're not getting anywhere, you didn't really gain anything because they're still in their position that they're against you or your ideas or hermit crab care. Can't change it. Didn't. It took you 6 hours and you went back and forth with them and you didn't get any sleep, but you didn't change it. You didn't change their opinion. Now take those 6 hours and put it towards maybe 10 people who are interested, who are receptive. You're going to get a lot more impact when you know when to back off. You're going to get a lot more impact by spending your time wisely, by focusing on good things and not the negative things. I am giving you permission right now. You can always step away from a conversation, especially online. It's super easy. You press the X button, or you close out your browser, or you turn off your phone. Done. I think we forget online that we can do that. And if somebody thinks you're rude, oh well, sorry. You sometimes have to protect yourself, protect your energy, protect your mental state and your mental thoughts. And if someone is really combative or saying really rude things to you or really ugly things to you, you don't have to engage with them. You don't have to convince them of the right way to do things. I'm giving you permission to just back away from the conversation. So I hope I gave you some good tips and ideas of how to go about advocating for hermit crabs on social media. And now I want to take a few minutes. I want to talk about specific platforms that you can use and kind of some tips and tricks that you can employ to use those platforms effectively. And this is a bit of an overlap with my day job. I'm a small business coach and I coach people to use social media and get their small business out there and in the world. So if you have any questions on that, let me know. All right, so here are some tips and tricks for each platform. Facebook. Oh, Facebook. Can't seem to live with it, can't seem to live without it. Am I right? Maybe that's just me. All right, so Facebook, you're going to get the most impact on your posts if you post in a group and or you post a video. You can post regular onto your timeline, your feed, your page, your personal page. You can do that and reach your family and friends that you're Facebook friends with. And that's great. Sometimes that's all you need to do. And this goes back to point number 1. Anybody can be a hermit crab advocate. And it starts with just your friends and family. Posting on Facebook is a great way to do it. Like, hey, we got hermit crabs and we thought we knew what we were doing, but we didn't. And this little wire cage isn't a great purchase. Instead, we set up a big tank, for example. All right. But if you're talking true advocacy and reach, Facebook group posts that you make in a Facebook group are going to reach more people, usually, unless you have like 10,000 Facebook friends, which I'm just confused and have more questions for you. But your Facebook group, those posts show up more in Facebook on the algorithm. So if you notice, if you scroll Facebook, the first 9 out of 10 of your posts are going to be from Facebook groups. And that's because Facebook values the impact of your Facebook group posts. Facebook values Facebook groups. If you see Facebook ads, they're always advertising Facebook groups because that's what they want people to use. So you use that and they put your posts higher up in other people's news feeds. And also videos or photos are going to show up more than just a text-based post. Speaking about Facebook groups, all the things I've said before can go along with this. Be kind to people, compliment people, know what you're talking about if you're going to say something. Be able to explain it. Like, why do we have humidity in a hermit crab tank? What does humidity do for our hermit crabs? Things like that. Don't just jump on the bandwagon of, oh, everyone else said this, so it must be true. Like, ask yourself, does that actually true? Do I know why this is true? And if you don't know, you can always ask a moderator or an admin, like, where are you getting this information? Why is this true? And they should be able to point you to some good resources, like why we think this, why we believe this, why we do it this way. And then, of course, just following the rules of the Facebook group that you're in is going to be beneficial and respectful of the groups, following the moderators and the admins and the rules that they've set. It's a good way to stay in that group. Follow the rules. Okay, that's Facebook. Well, let's go to Instagram. Instagram's owned by Facebook. In case you didn't know that, there you go. Instagram will show your posts to people when you do new things that Instagram's advertising. So on Instagram right now, Reels are the TikTok knockoff, in case you didn't know. And they are newer to Instagram, and Instagram wants everyone to use their new stuff. They want you to make Instagram Reels videos. If you have 300 followers and you post a photo, it's going to get seen at maximum by those 300 people. Usually, it's going to be more like a third of that number is going to see it, even have the opportunity to see it. So if you have 300 followers, 100 people are going to see that Instagram post. Now, if you post a reel, even if it is a terrible reel and you suck at it, this is my experience whenever I've tried to make them for other accounts, a bad reel is going to show up to way more people than even your very best Instagram photo will ever show up. And that is because Instagram Reels show up to new people who are not yet following you and people who are following you. So let's say you have 300 followers and you post an Instagram Reels. That Reels video could go to 1,500, 3,000, 30,000, 100,000, 3 million people. Potentially, it could go viral, if you will, get seen by a lot of people in a very short amount of time. So if you want to make the most impact, if you will, on Instagram, doing a Reels is going to get seen by the most amount of people. Now, if you're not up for doing video, that's fine. Use hashtags on your posts. And that's where you put in the hashtag, you leave a space before the next hashtag, and the hashtag is something that other people search for or click on. So a really great one to use on Instagram is Hermit Crabs of Instagram. It's a hashtag that I put in all of my posts. You can put it in your post, and you can see other people's hermit crabs. I look at that hashtag and find new accounts all the time that are adopting hermit crabs and are having hermit crabs for the very first time. Now, let's go to YouTube. Longer video format here, obviously. I am not super great at YouTube. I'm sure Crab Central Station could educate you on YouTube better than I could. Producing videos, good quality with good visual quality, good audio quality on a consistent basis is important to get seen or to get views. Also, having a title that is searchable, having a description in your video that is searchable, having closed captions on your video. These are all important things that could make your video get seen to more people. TikTok. I'm not on TikTok, but TikTok is another platform that you can use. If you post a good video on TikTok, it has the potential to reach a potentially huge audience. And you can cross-post that video from TikTok to Instagram or other platforms. And my tip there is to save the video to your phone without the TikTok watermark before you upload it to Instagram. Because if you upload a TikTok video with the TikTok little watermark symbol hovering around there onto Instagram, Instagram has started to reject those videos or to hide them in people's feeds. So people aren't going to see that as readily as a clear video with no watermarks whatsoever. There's other platforms out there. There's new platforms developing every day, and deciding which platform you want to use, I have two answers for you. One, use the platform that you already use. Two, use the platform that has the thing that has the media that you're most comfortable with. If you love video, you might rock on YouTube or TikTok. If you love text, like writing, maybe a blog is more up your alley. I know it's not social media, but it's in the wheelhouse. I love short text. You might consider Twitter. If you like short videos, TikTok, Instagram is going to be better than YouTube, obviously. And there's other things. So I hope this training session on advocating for hermit crabs through social media has been helpful to you. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to put them in the chat. I will be here answering those questions until the time runs out. I'd be happy to do that for you. So yeah, have a great rest of CrabCon. Why hermit? Hopefully you guys can't hear the traffic outside my window. All right.